story of Jurassic Park, or waking up dinosaurs again, or AI now, means that we are all busy stepping on each other.
We've got some bombshell news here. Welcome back to Moves on the Loose. My name's David, and today's top stories, we've got the CTV, not even CBC, CTV caught changing Pierre Poilievre's language, his words, doctoring a video to have him say something he didn't say, and they got caught. This is a new level of corrupt media here in Canada. We've also got Justin Trudeau hanging out with a drag queen, because that happens. We also got Trudeau hanging out with Stephen Colbert saying stupid things on late night American TV. Among some other stories, let's jump into this. So first up, we've got Trudeau here hanging out with a drag queen, because that's what he likes to do.
No, you're not dressed right.
He said, "You're not dressed right," and gave him something. I don't know what that is.
I love it. Now, go to the Sharpie so you can sign it. Do you have a Sharpie? Oh my, okay, Prime Minister, you have to sign this. Oh my God, thank you, Adam. I got a sponge from Prime
So he's got a Sharpie now. What is he, signing something?
Worthy.
This is our Prime Minister. Like, come on. Ladies and gentlemen, the Prime Minister of Canada. With that, we've got Captain Schmuck here telling one of the most bizarre stories. He involves Jurassic Park and martial arts, and I'm not even kidding. He's speaking at an event here in Montreal, as Ryan Garrettson says here, watch Trudeau pretend he's smart. He just showed the audience and the guy beside him that he's anything but.
Mr. Prime Minister, the final word, any ask or advice for everyone listening today?
Well, I think one of the things you started getting me thinking about science fiction, and I was thinking about Jurassic Park, the original book.
I told you.
Where Ian Malcolm, played by Jeff Goldblum, talks about, in the movie, talks about the accelerated pace of learning and knowledge and science, and the fact that if you're a martial arts expert, you will spend decades perhaps getting to the point where you can, kill someone with your finger. And the idea is, once you gain that particular power, you will have lived with it and grown into it so much that you'll never use it, or
Is this guy completely nuts? What is going on here?
never have to use it except in unimaginable circumstances, because you have gained control over the power you have. And the story of Jurassic Park, or waking up dinosaurs again, or AI now, means that we are all busy stepping on each other as we're creating more and more tools that we haven't had time to sit back and reflect on what's going to be the consequence of this, or what's going to be the challenge of that, or what's going to be the benefit of this. We just sort of throw it because we can. We're creating all these amazing new technologies.
He's completely lost his mind. That's all I see there is a guy who's lost his mind. It's just word salad garbage for mask-wearing fools and pink-haired girls. Not reflecting on the power you have, like maybe legally invoking the Emergencies Act like that. Trudeau's scripted responses can't hide the lack of substance. I've lost count of how many times he's been caught off guard. So what he was trying to say in here, I think, is that AI is getting too advanced too quickly and we're not paying attention to it, just like in Jurassic Park when they made dinosaurs that killed everyone. I don't know where the martial arts and the single death strike comes out. This guy is absolutely loony. Next up, we've got this bombshell here. So CTV caught changing Pierre Poilievre's words in a report. This is pretty scathing. Senator Leo Housakos, a conservative, sharing this. It says, taking part of several different separate sentences and splicing them together to make one new sentence that was never said isn't an editing misunderstanding. It's deliberate attempt to deceive. So that's what's happened here. They've taken words from one interview to another and spliced it together, and then they just covered Poilievre's face when they switched those words in a report, but still had the audio playing. You'll see here, we've got some footage of this. You'll see here in a second. So this was originally posted here by Sebastian Skamsky. It says, today CTV News was caught splicing a clip of Pierre Poilievre to propagate Liberals' narrative. This is not only total fabrication designed to deceive Canadians, but also a major breach of journalistic ethics. CTV must apologize for their flagrant use of disinformation. So we can see here, basically at the beginning of the clip, there's a clip of Poilievre talking about the carbon tax and how he wants to call for a motion for it. Right here it says that's why we need to put forward a motion. That's not what he said. The green here is they switched the words and they cut off the end. And the original clip said that's why it's time to put forward a motion for a carbon tax election. You see the difference there. This is important. That's why we need to put forward a motion. That's why it's time to put forward a motion for a carbon tax election. The reason for what's going on here is CTV made it look like Poilievre was putting forward a motion to defeat the dental care bill. They were trying to make it seem like he wanted to get rid of dental care. But he was talking about the carbon tax. He wasn't talking about dental care. So them simply splicing in "we need," it's changing the whole meaning of the sentence. They took off for a carbon tax election, and then they just stuck it where they needed it in the video to make him look like he wants to get rid of dental care. He's never said he wanted to get rid of dental care. They've not once said that. They might be able to just cut all the government spending. Like the government's bloated by 40%. If you cut that down by 10, 20, 30%, or even back to where it was, we would have tens of billions of dollars go back into government coffers, and we could reduce inflation, reduce the cost of everything, and we might be able to keep that dental plan. So Andrew Scheer has a video of this.
It's no wonder distrust in the media is at an all-time high. It's because Canadians are seeing more and more examples of how they twist the truth. But this one takes the cake. I've never seen anything like this.
So this is CTV apologizing for this. Last night in a report on this broadcast, we presented a comment by the official opposition leader, Pierre, that was taken out of context. It left viewers with the impression that the Conservative non-confidence motion was to defeat the Liberals' dental care program. In fact, the Conservatives have made it clear that the motion is based on a long list of issues with the Liberal government, including the carbon tax. A misunderstanding during the editing process resulted in this misrepresentation. I've edited over 1,000, probably I think about 1,400 videos right now. There's no little misunderstanding. You either intentionally decide to change someone's words or you don't. There's no like, hey, just make Poilievre say something else. That doesn't happen. Somebody chose to do that. Maybe they told the editors to do that. There was no misunderstanding. This was deliberate. We unreservedly apologize to Mr. Poilievre and the Conservative Party Canada. We regret this report went to air in the manner it did.
CTV News just got caught creating fake news. They were trying to promote a government talking point, and they took a clip of Pierre Poilievre making a statement about the carbon tax and giving Canadians a carbon tax election, and they spliced it together to do this.
While the continuation of the plan appears safe for now, the events of the last week have raised new questions over the plan's future.
That's why we need to put forward a motion.
The Conservatives announced a non-confidence vote.
That's why it's time to put forward a motion for a carbon tax election. That's why it's time we need to put forward a motion for a carbon.
The Conservatives announced a non.
So you can see here, that's why it's time. That's why we need. So they got this "we need" from somewhere. They just cut it out of another video when he said "we need," and they stuck it in there. And then to put forward a motion for a carbon tax election. So they essentially cut off that end bit, added "we need," and then put it into the dental care section of their video saying he wants to defeat it. This is terrible. This is not journalism. This is some snake oil stuff.
Pierre never actually said that sentence. This is the lengths that they'll go to try to protect the Liberals and take your attention off of the carbon tax and all the damage it's doing to Canadians. This is what Conservatives are up against, not just the Liberals and NDP, but their friends in the media, the bought and paid for parliamentary press gallery that will do everything they can to present Liberal policies in a favorable light and make you believe things that aren't even true about the Conservatives. Next time you see a CTV news broadcast painting Conservatives in a negative light, ask yourself this one question. Did that even really happen?
This is absolutely appalling. I mean, what is this? And what's funny here is this guy posted this reply here. So this happened last year where CTV admitted they wanted the NDP to win. I believe this is in Alberta. So you can see here, Calgary, Pegan, and we've got the Conservative, NDP, and the Greens.
Did I just hear CTV say they hope the NDP would get more seats?
Certainly, we are seeing the NDP not make the gains that we were hoping and we were wanting.
Come on. Now, if we watch this back, look at Poilievre's mouth. He doesn't say we need. He says it's time.
New questions over the plan's future.
That's why we need to put forward.
You can see there. So they basically spliced it so that other footage was over his mouth, covering that because it wouldn't have matched up. He says it right there. It's such a quick cut.
That's why we need to put forward a motion.
It's some sneaky editing there, that's for sure.
That's why it's time to put forward a motion for a carbon tax election.
And if you want to see it without all the music and stuff that's in the Andrew Scheer video, they have Sebastian posted it here, just the raw clips.
That's why it's time to put forward a motion for a carbon tax election. That's why we need to put forward a motion.
This slimy editing. They need to be defunded. Deceitful, then who's paying their salary anyway? Who's being fired? Tell me someone's being fired. I mean, have they not learned already that they've already been losing the trust? And they're almost as low as CBC when it comes to trust with Canadians. And they just do this. It's like you lose even more trust. The only person really at CTV that anyone really trusts anymore is Vassie Capellos, because she seems to do pretty fair back and forth on either side. There's times when it seems like she's kind of getting a couple memos from upstairs where she needs to stop going so hard on the Liberals, but this is just going to further hurt that news station. I mean, come on, guys. There's a reason why people are watching news on YouTube now, because it's so corrupt. Next up, we've got Justin Trudeau going on Stephen Colbert show. They actually talked about this on the CTV panel. So I'm going to cue it up with this. Then I've got the footage of him entering the building and then the 2 segments of him talking. Spoiler alert, he's a bonehead.
And then, frankly, if I was a political staffer still working in the PMO, I would want my leader to be being asked for by people like, whether it's James Corbyn or Stephen Colbert or, Jimmy Kimmel. And I wonder if you ask the question, if, someone like Pierre Poilievre would also be invited onto those shows. Like, who's going to want to karaoke with that guy, carpool karaoke with that guy? Not me.
Well, that's what I find so interesting in our own domestic political kind of sphere, Laura, because I don't think Poilievre and his team care whether they are. But I do think that Justin Trudeau and his team do, which is like each of them thinks they're reaching a different audience. And interestingly, they both want to win the next election.
This woman, what's her name? Kathleen, something or the NDP pundit. She is just like an absolute buffoon. Every time she opens her mouth, she just humiliates herself. And that's another example. I couldn't give a crap about the person I want as a leader or if the prime minister going on those shows. I don't care. What does it do? It does nothing. She seems to think that that's what a prime minister should want to do, is go on Colbert or on James Corden or whatever, all these guys.
Yeah, I mean, I think Prime Minister Trudeau has nothing to lose at this point by going on one of these shows. And I think he knows he will face criticism domestically from the opposition party. The Conservatives will make fun of him, quite frankly, for doing this. And I just don't think he really cares anymore. He sort of has nowhere else to go, right? I mean, it's gone pretty low for him here. So why not kind of broaden it out to an audience, as Kathleen talks about, that will probably appreciate him more than maybe if he came on and did Power Play Vashi. Maybe it'll be a bit of an easier ride. And I do think Canadians get a kick out of seeing their public figures on American television or with, kind of, there's a different level of fame, I think, that can be achieved that way. And I think even if you kind of don't like Trudeau or you're not that interested, hearing that he's on this show, I think a lot more people will tune in than they would if he was facing a domestic political audience.
Well, that's true, because Colbert has a huge audience. And so the only reason why people would tune in is to see if he's being a bonehead to all of America. So here's the footage of Captain Schmuck in NYC going to the Colbert show. He's got a monster army of guys around him. Security.
What's your message tonight? Guys, what are you going to tell Colbert?
And look at the videographer here. So this guy right here. He's always got a guy following him with a big camera. Like, it's just, you don't have to film everything, Trudeau. Basically, on the show here, he has 2 clips. He's asked what's his role on the world stage is the first one, or one of them.
What is Canada's role on the world stage, as you see it?
We're a really connected country. We have people from every corner of the world, but we also engage actively in the world in a way that Not everyone does. We are, we're the only of the large industrialized nations to have a free trade deal with every other large industrialized nation in the G7. We do feel connected, so that things that happen on the other sides of the ocean, we do feel a responsibility and a desire to help out. And when Canadians show...
He just has to put that in there. He's trying to get the Palestinian vote with that. That's what he's doing here.
People are usually sure we're not there to, impose or conquer. We're really there to help.
This is such a sad effort to get votes. Maybe he's trying to appease to all the people he's bringing from India. I don't know. This is why Canada has become a laughingstock. How did feelings come into his answer? He sold Canada. That's why he can't come up with an answer. We like to help no matter what happens to our citizens. So there's a bunch of other comments in there I can't read because a lot of people do not like Justin Trudeau, and they voiced it in those comments. Here's the second clip.
You're our closest ally, Canada. We stand, shoulder to shoulder, facing the world and the challenges of the world. I'm sure you're talking about a lot about the UN. What do we fight over? Because we don't think of ourselves as fighting with you guys. What are we? What's the big? Is it soft lumber tariffs? What is it?
Yeah,
fishing rights.
That's an issue. Yeah, these are issues,
yes.
But they're always small issues that matter. I mean, you guys are paying too much for your lumber because you've got tariffs on it, and that doesn't make any sense. So we keep trying to point that out for you, but we'll keep working on that.
But we come up to you guys to get cheaper drugs.
Yeah,
we come over the border for cheaper drugs. You guys okay with that?
We're happy to try and help you out, but it'd be really easier if you guys had universal health care.
Look at this narcissistic, smug guy. It's like he invented it. He's like, I invented it. Like he's trying to take credit for universal health care here. This is so dumb. His little smug little ugh. It's so scripted and fake. Little Potato just can't shake that lisp either. Little Potato is a nickname he was given in China. It's his Chinese name, essentially. What a loser. Oh, God, he's disgusting. Canadians wouldn't have to come to America for surgeries if they didn't have universal health care. Yeah, there's a lot of people going down to America to get things handled because our health care sucks. Having lived on both sides in Canada, I remember waiting 6 months for an MRI. Then it was scheduled for 3 a.m. Shortage on doctors, diagnostics, ED failures. Canada's healthcare is in shambles. No, thank you. Remember, I showed you guys a clip a few days ago of these guys poaching salmon with nets out of the Ontario rivers, and then they got charged. Cops came in. Well, they're back at it again. I don't know who these people are, but they keep stealing all the fish out of the rivers during the salmon run. It's important to know when the salmon are running, they swim upstream, they lay their eggs, and then they die. This is how they reproduce. If they don't do that, we don't have salmon in the river, and then the entire ecosystem collapses. The salmon are an integral part of the fish run of the entire ecosystem around that river. There's a reason why this is illegal, and these people need to be charged.
Walking up and down the river netting fish. Look, look, look. Time to light the rest? And I told them twice already that it's illegal. It's going to ruin it for everybody.
I mean, that's a problem when you get, people coming over from really poor countries. Eat or be eaten. It's like you do anything to make a buck, anything to, to live. And when you bring that mentality here, where we're very civilized, we have rules, we follow the rules, and they're not used to following the rules because there are no rules, there needs to be some sort of other education process that goes on. And maybe that is just throwing them in jail and like, here's your education. You can't do that here. I don't know what it is, but there's clearly a problem with bringing in all these asylum seekers or whatever who don't know or care that we have rules in our country. There's actually a second clip here. It says poaching fish with blankets now. These people come to Canada and do whatever they want. Diversity is our strength. That is so bizarre. I mean, if anyone sees people doing this, just go right up to them, film them, get very close footage of their face, and then you can just send that in and press charges, and that will be the education process, I guess. They should just call the cops right away and then go up and film them. That's what you got to do. And here's another one. It's crazy, too, because the fines on these will likely bankrupt these people so bad that they won't even be able to live here. Tell me again why I paid for a fishing license this year and so many other years. Those folks are getting almost $81K in money and benefits and still poach fish. If you didn't see my previous video, I was showing there's the reports of how much money. There's a whole bunch of payments. People get $8,000 for furniture, $500 top up on rent, $1,800 a month for living expenses, another $900 for something, $1,800 per kid per month. It works out to be a lot of money, plus poaching fish. You got Doug Ford just absolutely going off on homeless people, telling them to get to work.
You know what the best way to get people be able to get out of the encampments, get out of homeless? Get an application and drop it off one of these companies and start working. You need to start working if you're healthy. Bottom line, if you're unhealthy, I'll take care of you the rest of my life. Your life will take care of you. But if you're healthy, get off your ASS and start working like everyone else is. Very simple.
Doug Ford laying down the law there. Even if they look for work, there is none, because all of these 800,000 immigrants Ford is so proud of, which they brought to the province. So before Ford Nation make another statement, he should make sure that the province in fact supports legal Ontario residents and that there are actually jobs available to Canadian citizens. That's a good point. There's not exactly a lot of jobs floating around right now. Yep, why should they? The Liberals give them more money to be unemployed. D-word addiction. Jump over to my group. Let's see what memes we've got here today. Then I froze their bank accounts. You're easily my favorite tyrant. This was pretty quick. Somebody's quick on it. A new poll conducted by Leaguer found that 54% of Canadians expect Pierre to win the next election. Yeah, no kidding. The number is going to be higher than that. Liberals say that line again. Trudeau, 8 out of 10 Canadians get more in carbon tax rebates. I'm surprised Trudeau didn't say that on Colbert's show. If I win the lottery, I won't tell anyone, but there'll be signs. When a Liberal friend is telling you a story, you just can't relate because you're not stupid. Remember when everyone knew pro wrestling was fake and they finally admitted it and the fans didn't care and continued to watch it anyways? We're almost there with politics and the media. Who stands like this? He's trying to make himself look shorter, or is it because he has he has a hard something? What is this? Why is he doing this? He's such a goof. I'll run this country like my dad. Go get him, son. I want a real man. I want a real man. I want new parents. Paper straw in a plastic wrapper, the new green movement in a single picture. Yeah, that's it. There we have it. Justin Trudeau saying dumb things to millions of Americans and Canadians. But more importantly, CTV changing Pierre's words and oh, this is so bad. They're just so paid off and corrupt. Somebody has to get fired for this. A simple apology. Oops, it was a little bit of an editing error. That's not good enough. Someone needs to be fired for this. And it's not the editor. It's whoever's up top who made the editor do that. If they think they can just keep disrespecting Canadians and Canadians will continue to watch their programming, they're in for a rude awakening.